Now, as we move on to review the last 12 months of sport, we see yet more changes in championships, changes in sport itself. For that is both the joy and the sadness of sport. I think old faces disappear and new ones emerge.
At this, the last but one all-amateur Wimbledon, there are new names in plenty. Alex Olmedo plays little Rod Laver for the men's crown, and everyone knows that whoever wins will turn professional within 6 months. It's been like that for the last 4 Wimbledons. And on this Friday in July, there's never any doubt who'll win. It's Olmedo. The 23-year-old Peruvian takes just 70 minutes to dispose of the unseeded fair-haired Australian. And this is the way it ends. On the green stage, he's dominated throughout the Wimbledon fortnight. Alex Olmedo received the spoils that guarantee his entry to the Kramer Circus.
Another new name dominates the women's final, Maria Bueno. The pretty Brazilian plays Darlene Hard for the title vacated by Althea Gibson. And the Cha-Cha girl shows she has the champion strokes. The bouncy American is never there with a chance. This is South America's Wimbledon, with Olmedo's triumph followed by Maria Bueno. On this brilliantly hot day, Maria Bueno proves herself the world's #1.
6 weeks later, and 3,000 miles away, the girl we all thought would win the Wimbledon crown, Christine Truman, tastes defeat also in the Whiteman Cup. Everything and everyone depended on her. And though she wins one match, the big Chingford girl can't do it a second time. For this is the match that decides the fate of the Whiteman Cup. Christine Truman against Beverly Flights. And that's how, on a cool August evening in Pittsburgh, the Whiteman Cup, so narrowly won by Britain last year, goes back to America.
And there's another American recapture still to come. Out west, the Ryder Cup goes that way too. Britain, who won the trophy 2 years ago, cling on in the foursomes but are crushed in the singles. But even in defeat, there is a little joy. Joy for Norman Drew, the Belfast man, who halves his first Ryder Cup match. And joy for Scotsman Eric Brown, who lives up to all his pre-match prophecy and truly slams his American opponent. But even so, the Ryder Cup goes back to America.
But there is no lack of cups or triumphs for individual Britons. Young Britons like Anita Lonsbrough. The Yorkshire swimming star proves herself the world's #1.
18 yards to go, 15 yards to go. Anita Lonsbrough in harm, neck and neck as you see. The white cap of Lonsbrough on the far side. 8 yards to go. Lonsbrough making a great effort, so in harm. 3 yards. Lonsbrough just ahead. Lonsbrough got it.
It's this sort of racing that makes Britain the #1 swimming nation in Europe. Plus, of course, that blonde torpedo, Ian Black. 4 national titles, 6 Scottish titles, plus a couple of world best times. They are the Black winnings this year. In 1959, Ian Black lives up to everything he promised in '58.
And so too do other stars. Arthur Rowe said he'd be the first Briton to put the shot more than 60 feet. He said he'd do it in 1959, and so he does. 61 feet, to add the European record to his European title. But it's away from home, on the continent of Europe, that British athletes score their biggest successes.
It's March in Portugal, when Fred Norris leads England's team to victory in the International Cross-Country Championships. Norris, the miner from Lancashire, who lost nearly a week's wages through running here, leads from the first lap and never looks back. And in inspired display of running gives Fred Norris, the 37-year-old from Bolton, a runaway win in this, the most important cross-country race of the year.
Back on the White City track, two famous figures in British athletics, Gordon Pirie and Derek Ibbotson, fight their way back. Can they gain new recognition this summer?
World record holder for the 1 mile lead from the world 3,000-metre record holder, and it's Ibbotson number 6 leading from Gordon Pirie, and Pirie coming wide. Terrific finish by Gordon Pirie. Pirie's going away, and it's going to be a world fastest time. It's going to be under 8 minutes 40, 8 minutes 36, 37, 38, and he's done it. The world fastest time for the 2 miles.
But there's no Pirie when Britain's athletes reach Moscow for the big athletics match of the season, facing the Soviet Union on their own ground. In the giant Lenin Stadium, new names and old uphold Britain's track mastery. Brian Hewson is the top winner of them all. The slim, light European champion brings off a Moscow double, winning both the middle distance races, the 800 and the 1500. Hewson's splendid double makes him one of the athletes of the match, so chosen by the Russians. Britain score almost a complete sweep on the track. The boys in white also come first and second in the 400 metres, with the tall European champion, John Wrighton, chased to the line by young Malcolm Yardley. And a triumphant day for British runners is rounded off with another double, this time in the 5,000 metres. The two who pull it off, Stan Eldon, the Berkshire policeman, and Bruce Tulloh, the barefooted student. Britain's track runners win the glory, the Soviet Union win the match. But the personality of the meeting is a pretty 19-year-old, Mary Bignal. The shapely lass from Somerset takes part in 3 events and wins 2. From near obscurity at the start of the season to honours galore at season's end. That's the record of Mary Bignal, Sportswoman of the Year.
Now meet in person the girl whom the sports writers acclaim Sportswoman of the Year, as you've heard, Mary Bignal.
Good evening.
Well now, Mary, what made 1959 for you such a wonderful year? What do you remember most?
Well, I think winning the British national long jump at White City and then being able to go to Moscow and win 2 events and finish up with 2 fastest times in Rome.
Well, what do you think of all this newspaper talk about your winning a gold medal in Rome next year?
Well, it worries me very much. I'm very pleased to think that they think I have a chance, but I'd much rather be in the background and let things take course.
Well, now, you're still in your teens, and if you'll forgive me for saying this, I think you were really unheard of in athletics a year ago, that's nationally speaking. What do you think is one particular reason for your having made such great strides so quickly?
Well, I think I definitely owe it all to my coach, who took me on at the beginning of last year, and he's worked me very hard, and I think I owe most of it to him.
And in Rome next year, the Olympic Games, what events are you going to take part in?
Well, I think I'll probably be concentrating on long jump and also hurdles, but I hope to keep up with pentathlon just to keep me generally fit.
And what distance do you think you'll have to do to win in Rome?
Well,
long jump.
I think I'll have to do 21 feet or over.
And what's the best you've done so far?
20 feet 8 3/4 wind assisted.
Well, we'll all be behind you for those extra inches. Thank you for coming tonight, and good luck in 1960.
Thank you.
Now from athletics, we turn to other kinds of racing: horse racing, cycle racing, motorcycle racing. 3 different sports, in fact, but each one brought joy to its supporters and its sportsmen during this past year.
Epsom on Derby Day, a day without equal in sport. In 1959, it's a day in the sun for the sport of kings and queens. The Queen's horse, above suspicion, is among the 14 horses who race for the rich Derby prize. And as it's been every post-war year, it's a duel between Britain and France.
The first fancied horse to make a break is Fidalgo. But Fidalgo is in the lead only for a while, because in the next instant, Parthia races up to close with the colt. The French challenge is held off. The two English horses fight it out for first place. And what a race to the line it is. Fidalgo on the rails, Parthia on this side. Parthia races away from his rival in sight of the post, and with a whoop of joy, Harry Carr wins his first Derby.
It's a treble first, the first Derby win for Parthia's owner, trainer and rider. Sir Humphrey de Trafford, Captain Lloyd Rochford and Harry Carr.
Just over 3 months later, Parthia is a hot favourite to win the last classic, the St. Leger. But on the Doncaster course, the big colt is never in it.
150 yards to run. It's Cancello from Fidalgo in second place. Parthia third. 25 yards to run. It's Cancello still from Fidalgo in second place. Parthia third. Norris finishing fast. Now going in third place. Never mind. Cancello's the winner. Fidalgo second. Fidalgo is third.
For Eddie Hyde, it's his first classic win.
But in the classic races of 1959, the outstanding horse raced not in the Leger nor the Derby. It's left to the fillies to provide the only double winner of the year, Petit Etoile, the Ali Khan's second string, who wins the 1,000 guineas with ease and later does the same in the Oaks. In a year of triumphs, the Guineas winner's a triumph too for Doug Smith, champion jockey. So a French filly becomes Britain's horse of the year.
But over in France, a British cyclist gives the French a run for their money in their own sport, the Tour de France. The Tour, the most fantastic cycle race of the year, has long been a continental preserve. France, Italy, Spain, Belgium, Luxembourg, they are the nations who provide the winners. A British rider doesn't count. But he does this year, because his name is Brian Robinson, cyclist extraordinary. An old illness almost puts Robinson out of the Tour, but ever a fighter, the Yorkshireman comes back better than ever. For the second successive year, Robinson wins a stage in the Tour de France, something no British rider has ever done before. Robinson first found fame on the continent.
So too has another Briton, John Surtees, without doubt the most famous British sportsman abroad. There's no faster man on two wheels in the world than John Surtees. Undefeated in every Grand Prix race, Surtees is a winner every time he rides. Double world champion for the second.
Almost regarded as a failure, and after 9.5 minutes, number 7, Roy White, puts Nottingham Forest 1 goal to 0 in the lead. Durkin, Dimmock, now Gray. Wilson, and a great goal by Wilson, that's
2 goals up in 14 minutes. Forrest Looker's super side. But there's tragedy ahead for the man who put them in front, Roy Dwight. In a collision with Luton's right back, Dwight is hurt. He's out of the match. He's broken his leg. The Wembley hoodoo has struck again. Almost an hour left and Nottingham Forest are down to 10 men. Can Luton cut down that lead in the second half?
Being on the short corner to Hawks. Number 3. And a great chance to let go. Goal scored by Casey in the left half.
But that goal has come too late, and even the Luton fans give a cheer when Jack Burkett leads the gallant 10 men from Nottingham Forest to the Royal Box. So a club not usually linked with stirring deeds take home the cup.
It's the same story in Scotland. Up there at Hampden Park, Forest's feat is equalled by unfashionable St Mirren, who clinched the Scottish Cup. Nothing glamorous about this one either. St Mirren against Aberdeen. And though it lacks big names, it doesn't lack any thrills.
McGugan, a nice bit of work there. Now left winger Miller of St Mirren. Centre forward Baker, and Clooney always there. It's Clooney who wins again, but Miller who moves on to the ball. It's Miller now. St Mirren's left winger. A good one, a very good one. And it's there! And what a goal! 2 minutes of the first half to go, and it's Bryceland who puts St Mirren in front with a really picture goal. St Mirren 1, Aberdeen 0.
2 more goals like that, and St Mirren make sure of the cup. The Paisley Club's first win in more than 30 years.
But when it comes to the other cup, the European Cup, Glasgow's glamour boys take over. The Rangers go far from home to Czechoslovakia to win their way into the top 8 clubs of Europe. Having won on the stroke of time at home in Glasgow, Rangers only have to draw to win. And coming up is the goal that does it, a goal that brings new glory to a glorious name. Rangers.
The Football League champions, Wolverhampton Wanderers, also used the European Cup to restore at least some of England's fading football prestige. But in beating the champions of Yugoslavia, Wolves stir up more trouble than if they'd lost.
Broadbent to Hall. Now drawing on this youngster. To Broadbent. Mason. A very good goal indeed.
It may not be classic football, but it is effective. Effective enough to make champion Wolverhampton Wanderers become one of the top 8 clubs of Europe.
Now the great moment is at hand, the moment that will tell all of you at home which one of our guests here tonight you've chosen as the BBC Sportsview Personality of the Year. Now, as every year, we shall tell you the first 3 names in the voting, and in this year of sport, 1959, third in your voting, we're going to work up to the winner, is, make sure I haven't forgotten, Ian Black. Last year's winner. These votes were still being counted at midday today. Second, Bobby Charlton. And now, the Sportsview Personality of the year 1959. I promise you that he or she doesn't know, and neither do any of our audience here, and it is John Surtees. Congratulations, John. I'm so very surprised. Well, now, to present the award to John Surtees, we're very fortunate in having with us tonight a man whose achievement is immortal, the leader of the expedition that climbed Everest, and secretary of the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme, Sir John Hunt.
Well, I'm very lucky to be here tonight and to have viewed this wonderful program with a very great many other of you. Not only to have viewed, as most of you have, some of the great figures in world sport and British sport, but to have actually seen them and met them in the flesh. Probably like a great many others of this enormous viewing audience which have been watching the show tonight, I've always been very prone to hero worshipping ever since I was a small boy. And mainly, of course, the great figures in sport, great and famous people. And I've always imagined, until I met some of them, that they were quite extraordinary beings, barely human, a kind of species of super men and super women. And one of the really thrilling things I found is, when you do have contact with them, to find that quite apart from their brilliance, and despite it, they really are ordinary men and women like you and me, interested in a lot of things besides the one thing they're probably brilliant in, and able to talk and be interested in local things and the big and important and immediate things too, such as, for instance, Christmas. And if you pick out any two of the people we've been lucky enough to meet tonight, take Henry Cooper and Ingemar Johansson, who came on here, world famed and rightly applauded, who, so my newspaper tells me, are very shortly going to sock each other on the jaw and in the solar plexus. I like to think that Henry Cooper and Ingemar Johansson at this season are looking forward to the sort of things we're looking forward to eating their Christmas dinner, probably with having rather larger helpings than you and me. But for all that we do, all of us get a great thrill from great deeds of prowess in sport, in the kind of sports we've seen represented here tonight, because these stars are setting standards of near perfection which we can look up to. And we all want standards to look up to, whether in sport or not, and whether we take part in sport or whether we don't. And of course, we're all a bit partisan. We're rightly pro-British. And we've heard and been reminded of some very magnificent feats in the world of sport which have been brought off in the name of Britain by some great people, men and women, this year. And we've met them tonight. And lastly, and paradoxically, I think, we, most of us, rather like the other side and the other chap to win, sometimes. And speaking as one who played quite a lot of rugby football, what a tremendous kick I got last year when the international trophy was carried back across the channel to France, by France for the first time, by an absolutely magnificent rugby football team. Well, now, these things make all of us feel good, and we've got for that to thank these wonderful stars we met here tonight, and a great many other fine performers in many sports who have not been here tonight. And now it's my very proud privilege to hand this trophy to the person you've selected, and very rightly selected, as your #1 sports personality for the year, John Surtees.
Well, it seems I've got to say a few words. First and foremost, I would most sincerely like to thank all the voters for the confidence they have placed upon me, and also for the honour they have placed upon motorcycling and myself. Secondly, I would like to point out that motorcycling, although perhaps we get all the publicity, is also a team game, and behind my effort there's the mechanics, the designers, and some very enthusiastic people who think very much of the sport. And I think sport, whether it is athletics or anything, is one of the finest things, the finest thing in life. Thank you.
Very, very well done. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the year's award goes to a man for whom 1960 holds the promise of still greater fame. Yes, I think you'll agree that this year's story has been told, but what of the year to come? Because 1960, remember, is going to be Olympic year. And it's with a glance ahead to the Olympic Games of Rome that we say good night to you from Sportsview and wish you good sports viewing in 1960, Olympic year. And so from all of us here, good night.
15 days from tonight, Olympic year begins. The year that will see the nations of the world locked in sporting combat. In the ancient city of Rome, history will be made anew at the greatest sporting festival the world has known, the Olympic Games of 1960.